You can increase your profit by up to 15% just by solving the moisture variability problem. Each year, aquafeed and pet food producers lose millions due to inconsistent moisture levels in their output. And with dryers using 50 to 60% of a plant's energy, every recipe change counts. With final product leaving the plant, steady quality means value. Skilled experts spend years mastering manual adjustments to keep the process just right. But it's reactive and costly. What if there was a solution once thought impossible? Meet Dryer Ace, your advanced control expert, the breakthrough in drying technology. Andritx never stands still, bringing you patented technology that delivers real results. Designed with flexibility in mind, Dryer Ace works with all dryer brands. Its predictive technology anticipates dryer behavior and takes the best possible actions to keep you on target. It adjusts automatically, no human input needed. With real-time data and advanced cybersecurity, Dryer Ace keeps you informed and protected. In just 1 month, you will see the difference. The result? Higher throughput, reduced variability, and top-quality product. It cuts your energy costs by at least 10%, powering sustainability and profits together. Built on global success, now shaping the future of feed and biofuel. Dryer Ace, for those who never stand still. In the 90 seconds you've spent watching, we could have saved half of a ton of sub-optimized product. It's time to act. Let's talk. You can increase your profit by up to 15% just by solving the moisture variability problem. Each year, aquafeed and pet food producers lose millions due to inconsistent moisture levels in their output. And with dryers using 50 to 60% of a plant's energy, every recipe change counts. With final product leaving the plant, steady quality means value. Skilled experts spend years mastering manual adjustments to keep the process just right. But it's reactive and costly. What if there was a solution once thought impossible? Meet Dryer Ace, your advanced control expert, the breakthrough in drying technology. Andritx never stands still, bringing you patented technology that delivers real results. Designed with flexibility in mind, Dryer Ace works with all dryer brands. Its predictive technology anticipates dryer behavior and takes the best possible actions to keep you
pellet plant that has a production capacity of 800 tons per day. They specialize in the production of high-quality feed pellets for cattle. The plant takes raw materials such as corn, soybean meal, wheat bran, and other grains, and processes them into pellets through a series of batching, grinding, mixing, conditioning, pelleting, cooling, and packing. With Andritx state-of-the-art equipment and expertise, they are able to efficiently produce a large quantity of feed pellets to meet the demands of the market. The raw materials intake with a filter is an essential process to ensure the quality of the pellets. The filter helps to remove impurities, such as stones, and foreign particles from the raw materials, which can negatively impact the production process and the final product. The filtered raw materials are transported through bucket elevators and conveyors to facilitate the batching process. This process provides a reliable and continuous flow of the filtered raw materials, ensuring that the batching process remains uninterrupted for optimal productivity. The drum cleaner is responsible for processing the transported raw materials. It is designed to remove any impurities or contaminants from the materials, ensuring that they are clean and ready for further processing. Once the raw materials have been processed by the drum cleaner, they are considered clean and can be used in the next stage of production. Raw material batching is a critical process in an animal feed pellet plant. It involves accurately measuring and combining various ingredients to create a balanced feed formula. This ensures that the cattle receive the necessary nutrients for their growth and development. Accurate batching is essential to produce high-quality and nutritious animal feed pellets, which ultimately contribute to the health and productivity of livestock. Once the material has been batched, it is then transferred through material handling equipment to the grinding process. This equipment is specifically designed to handle and transport materials efficiently and safely. This transfer process ensures that the proper amount of material is delivered to the grinding equipment for further processing and refinement. The design of the drag conveyor prevents material degradation and provides gentle handling while ensuring minimal product loss.
So I would want to get one extra seat here. That one, yeah. So we are here. I think the morning was fairly heavy, and there must be some few questions that you might want to ask. You know, when people are doing presentations, they kind of feel like you feel like a student, isn't it? So sometimes you wonder if you really want to ask a question. So we'd want to have some discussion with the team from Andritx, and we are going to be joined by another gentleman who will also help us in the discussions that we're going to have. So Faisal and the two gentlemen, I would like you to come to the front here, and please join us. We'd like you to be part of the discussion. So Anthony is going to moderate this session, and we just want to have a conversation really around after, you know, those were very technical questions, but now, presentations. But now we want to talk in plain English. Eh? So I'm asking the guys up here that now the technical sessions are gone. So now it's down to business and the small nitty-gritty, the things that actually get us in a meal, isn't it? It's more of, how much was the yield today? Yeah? Is the truck going to Luanshia? Has it gone? Yeah? Are we making money? Yeah. Those are the kind of questions in a meal, isn't it? So Anthony, I would like you to come to the front and take the mic away from me, and let's have these conversations, isn't it?
Good, thank you, Francis. I think a lot of the people are here in the morning, and it's always nice to make sure that we really put what we presented to you in the morning in context, or in terms of how does it really matter, and why do we think Zambia should be a focus for us as a business. We have a banner behind there, that panel. It's quite deliberate as to why it's there, because you know your product very well. I don't think there's any miller here who would say an outsider knows how good their product is than them. But there's one thing that we know very well. We know productivity quite well. Yeah? That's why I decided to have at least 3 people from Andritx give you a different perspective. You know about Zambia, but we have a global outlook. We have a global technology outlook because Niels is our global, industry, I'd call him expert, with an overview of, from China all the way to Chile. And Johannes obviously knows the Southern African context. And obviously you have, remind me the name, Mr. Kafwembe from the local chamber of commerce with a local context. Okay, so the conversation is really going to be what we presented today here. And I'll start with obviously Faisal. What we presented to our invitees today, what do you see happening in a global overview? And you as Africa Director, what do you see is happening in other regions of Africa that make sense for this region as well in Southern Africa? And are we behind? Do we need to catch up? What can we do to be better?
Thank you, Anthony. I think very interesting question. I have worked most of my life on global roles. And I do not see the challenges of Africa are very different from any other country or any other region. The biggest topic nowadays is about how do you optimize the production cost. I'm talking more like on operational side. The competition is catching up. Like like for us, for the OEMs, we have a competitor. So it's a very, very good thing to have strong competitors because they keep you on the toes. Unless you invent new ways of doing the same thing, you're not going to survive. It's the same situation with our customers, processors, manufacturers, that you have a competition not only from local players, but also from the global players as well, who have a different kind of economies of scale. They have a different level of supply chains. They have much more, let's say, established professional organizations. And customer will ask, how can I optimize my production cost? Now, you could look at in multiple ways. Number one would be your supply chain. If you are buying the raw material at the right prices, in right quantities, at the right time. We cannot influence as an OEM. What we can bring to the table is the technology which should be able to handle a raw material of various kinds. Whether it could be very harsh, it might not be as clean as, for example, South African maize, considered as one of the best maize, for example. And you talk about Nigeria. When you speak to the customer in Nigeria, they say the corn here is very dry. And then there's a lot of stones, there's a lot of things, foreign material, which we have to remove. Would your machine be able to handle this? Do you have the kind of technologies which can prepare my product in a manner that from the mill, what I pack has the same nutritional value as I would have bought the most expensive raw material. So this is what we are working towards as such. In addition to this would be is operational excellence. That do we have the technologies to optimize your production costs when it comes to electricity, for example, your water consumption, your steam consumption, and so on. And this is what I think would be interesting, that we can contribute as Andritx, that we can help you with the challenges you are facing to become more competitive in the market and still be profitable, to survive and to grow.
Excellent start to the discussion, I would say. I think I'd like to jump and please hand the mic over to the nice gentleman to understand from a global overview to a local Zambian context, where we are talking about what the chamber can actually encourage these millers or businesses who are looking keenly into animal feed. What policy, what advocacy is going on from that level to enable them actually invest or be able to look at this industry favorably and be able to acquire this technology that we are saying is good globally and is also appropriate for this market?
Thank you very much. My name is Kafwimbi Malindima. And, I have a milling plant called Golden Grain Milling. Then I also sit on the Lusaka Chamber of Commerce, and I also president of AfriSmart Entrepreneurs, that coordinates entrepreneurs from Zambia to other continents in participation in trade expos and trade fairs. And I also sit in many other organizations that deal in entrepreneurship. Just to respond to my colleague and the rest of you here, Zambia is in need of industrialization, and we are in need of the technology of such nature, because the president's core has always been, let's do value addition to the minerals, value addition to every grain that we produce as Zambia. Because the fact that we are landlocked the advantage is that we are land linked. It means our countries around Zambia depend much on the staple food from Zambia. And Congo becomes, and has always been, our bigger market. And this year we have a lot of maize. We've hit out roughly above the normal because we had good rains. So value addition plays a key role, and your equipment comes in as a way from our byproducts of maize, meaning that we have the maize bran, which is the byproduct of most of our feed that we have, and your mechanization helps us as SMEs, help us on the commercial and on the lower level in terms of how do we produce more, how do our animals, how do our chickens get more of the feed. Yeah, so basically it's a time like this one that we as Zambians are looking for, and we can only achieve this through such forum like these ones, expos, so that we learn from that and then we pick it up from that one as well. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. I think I've heard that there is an actual drive from government or from the president that it's not just words, but you see industries being revived in Zambia. I hear there's I think, is it a linen or was it a cotton factory that has been revived somewhere in Kabwe?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We have Mulungushi Textiles.
Textiles, okay, textiles,
Yeah,
yes.
and it was closed for some time, but now it has been revamped. So it means on the agricultural part, the outgrower scheme comes into play, is revived as well. So it's a value chain now, which we are yet to see its contribution to the GDP of this country.
Good. Now, there's something else you mentioned about these partnerships between between entrepreneurs and companies. Would you vouch and say that Andritx is a good company too?
Well, having interacted with this company and having been part of this whole period of time with you, this mechanization, I would say it's already meeting our needs as a country, and all we need is availability when we need you.
Okay.
So that we make our life very easy.
Good.
Yes.
We'll hit the call to be more present as well here, if you let us be. And it's all up to, obviously, the market pulls demand, and then we are able to supply to that demand. I'll jump over to Niels, because Niels has been with the company for a great number of years. How many years, Niels? 50 or 15?
15.
1-5. He looks very young and handsome. Eh? So 15 years. So, Niels, I think I want a global perspective. What do you see in terms of technology? Are we offering the right technology for Zambia? Are we half providing them a poor solution, or are we coming in with a solution that any investor in Zambia would be convinced that they are getting the Rolls Royce of either the aqua feed, the animal feed, whether cattle, poultry? Yeah, are we offering the right solution for these markets? And what other markets do you compare us with? Is it China market? Is it India? Is it Europe? Is it South America? Where are we?
I think actually Faisal said it, that this market from our perspective looks like any other developing market. There's heaps of developing markets. I think our offering, I would not say that we're offering a Rolls Royce. Now I'm a Scandinavian, so I'm a little bit different in that way of putting it, but I would not say we're offering a Rolls Royce. We're offering the best for the market in the right situation because we have such a broad portfolio. So we can not only offer, it's not about having a Rolls Royce, it's about having the right product for you in your situation, in your business development.
So what I say is fit for purpose. What you're saying is we are offering equipment that is fit for purpose in the application, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. But what technology trends have you seen in developing markets? Okay, we are offering a modular plant solution. Is this the trend in other developing markets? Or are we just saying we are pushing this thing into Africa? Are you seeing the demand for this in other developing markets?
Yes, we are seeing it. We are not seeing it as much as we would have liked to in developing markets. We thought we were creating a solution for new feed millers. But eventually it turned out, at least until now, that it's more clients that are looking for a short time from start to finish.
So what you're saying is our outlook was to say this is appropriate for our markets in Africa, in developing countries, but the big players have realized that they can actually use this to get into these markets very fast and cheaper. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and more predictable.
More predictably, okay.
Yes.
Why? Explain on that predictable.
Because everything is set, everything is planned, the building is there, the concept is there.
It doesn't change too much, is that what you're saying? The parameters are kind of defined.
Yes, you would not rely on a local steel company to go and build the building.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've actually done all the work for them.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Okay.
I have a slight comment to the byproducts.
Okay, yeah, please tell us, because that's also a global technology or overview that you have, yes.
In Europe, which is my backyard, flour millers would not address brands as byproducts. I know this has something to do with wording, but it's also about how you treat your different side streams, or as we call it, value streams. Your brand is a valuable commodity. You need to make the best of it, and you need to add the most value to it you can while you have it at site, basically.
So what you're saying and what I'm hearing is that we need to change the conversation from calling it byproducts to value streams. So all the millers, when you go back, tell your bosses, this is not waste. It's not byproduct. This is another value stream we need to really add value to, okay?
I just want to add one sentence. I'm going to give you this back. I was with a customer in Saudi Arabia, and the gentleman I was speaking to was a very senior person in Saudi Arabia, the people who decide who will be the minister. So this is the kind of person I'm talking about, and I use a word, byproduct. He just slammed my hand. He said, no. We call it co-product.
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 And then when I prepared my presentation, I changed the wording. Any presentation we had called byproduct to co-product.
Okay. No, good. I think that's food for thought. Let's think about this product from our milling, maize milling and wheat milling as core and
value streams.
Value streams. Okay. We jump over to Johannes. I think we are quite glad to have somebody local in the same from SADC, from just down the road in South Africa to you. But Johannes brings in a lot of plant or operational experience. And I would say we know that the people we've invited are either have operations in South Africa and are moving up into Africa, into Zambia. They are bringing the know-how, they are bringing plants that our invitees need to compete with. What would be your advice in terms of how they need to look at being able to compete with these big players? If you are going to compete with the big players, your Novatex, your Zambifs, your Tigers, your Aqua, Ala Aqua, your Scretin, what would be your advice? One, in terms of plants or equipment, and two, in terms of operations.
In terms of having a plant that gives you the good quality product, maintenance is critical. The plant is your kitchen. You're baking an ingredient for your market. And you need to bake ingredients, an end product that is acceptable to the market. You cannot do or make a good ingredient if your plant is not properly maintained. Delaying it will just cause a ripple effect on your end product. So there needs to be close synergies between maintenance and production. And there needs to be a clear line of respect between these two departments. Yesterday, I had a conversation with one of the customers, and we came to the same topic. The production team doesn't want to see the engineers in the plant because they know once a production engineer walks through the plant, he knows he wants a piece of it, which he can't have or afford to give off. So it's not to say that you have poor quality equipment, no, but
I want us just to interrupt you. Put that into context so that the people who do not understand what that means. When you say the production does not want to give maintenance that piece of meat, what do you mean? They cannot afford the downtime. Is that what you mean?
yes.
Okay, so they do not want the plant to stop, and they do not want to schedule maintenance because they've got targets on production.
Yes.
Okay, please. Yes, so conclude the point that, yes?
So although your equipment might be small in size, in capacity, still it has the ability to make a good quality product. So do not compromise on maintenance for the sake of quality, and compromise on your quality as well.
Okay, and in terms of, are we able to offer at this entry-level capacity, can they compete with the big players? If somebody goes and says, I've got my wheat mill and my maize mill, I've got only a certain % of brand that I'm getting, is it justifiable to invest in a feed mill knowing that you're going to compete with the South African players?
Definitely is. As we have addressed now the equipment side of it, we also need to attend to the performance of your feed, of your end product. Because why? The genetics that the end customer has on the chicken side, on the poultry side, needs a good quality feed, needs a feed that performs. That genetics needs to be maintained. It's like an athlete training for the Olympics. He needs to have a special diet to prepare for that race and for that intense training. So it is with that chicken. You expect that chicken to be fully grown within 30 days. And with that, giving him a good quality product that is easily digestible, that has a good PDI, it needs to have a good performance. When we talk about reliability and performance of machines, we measure when you take a sample of your of product in your hand, or you take a pellet. When we talk about efficiencies, we say that pellet is a balanced pellet. Why? Because our technology is so efficient that it has 95% of that ingredients is in that one pellet. That's where we come in with mixing efficiency. How efficient does your mixer mix? That is why, from a technical perspective, we say our CV is 5 and less. Anybody can build a mixer, but does it have, how accurate is it in its mixing? So that is the small stages of the production process that you need to monitor and value and not compromise on in order to stay competitive with the commercial producers. So maintenance, production accuracy and efficiency, so that that expensive genetic that the farmer is investing in, he can see the performance, and then you will have a loyal customer forever.
But then, Johannes, the mill owner is going to not be told that they need to invest in a feed mill. Is going to make the argument that they need to be an integrator to maintain those genetics. They'll have to go down further down the stream, have poultry houses, have genetics birds brought in to compete with the tigers, to compete with Novatec and Zambif and the likes. Is it worth it to still go down that line? Or is there enough market for commercial feed if they do invest in a 10-ton or a 5-ton feed? What would you say? Knowing that the players from South Africa are quite strong in terms of integration, they're integrated, even probably selling those genetics into this market. How do you convince a player in this market?
Look, we're not expecting the miller to have his own hatcheries. No. We encourage the miller to add value to his core product. That's what the conversation is about. How do you add value to your core product? And that is why we are looking at this staged approach. Ultimately,
so the answer is staging.
Staging, yes.
So, and ultimately, you will still end up with some genetics and some birds down the line, because you'll have to make profit somewhere down along the line.
It is worth it in the sense, the more you close your value chain, the more money stays in your company. Is it not?
Yeah, so closing the chain in that eventually he sees that he's selling the feed, adds another value down the stream to the beef, to the chicken. Okay, good. I want to jump back to Faisal as well. I think from now a business perspective, Andritx and this market, and as we actually try and then end the conversation at that level and see whether there are any questions coming in, what would you say as Africa Director is your outlook for Africa? What would be our commitment to this region? What can players looking to invest with us hope to get?
It's not anymore a secret for anybody. The markets in Americas, in Europe, are mostly saturated. And where are people looking at? They're looking at Asia.
Yes, Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asia.
Vietnam,
India.
Okay.
And then you look at Africa. Now, if you start comparing the level of opportunities they present themselves in Africa, what you can achieve, as opposed to what you can achieve in, let's say, in Southeast Asia or India, is completely different. Southeast Asia as an OEM for us, or companies like us, the biggest challenge is that the way you have local competition, and you have Chinese just flooding the market as such, that becomes less attractive market to look at. Whereas in Africa, the companies like us and similar companies, they would like to invest more and more because they think they can still help there is a big gap of education, mean training. When I say education, mean not in the school. I'm talking about the industry related. Knowledge sharing, process know-how. Because when we say that I can supply you a machine, without the knowledge, the machine is a useless machine because you don't know how to handle it. I remember somebody saying to me, I can buy Ferrari, but in this country, I don't have a driver which can drive this Ferrari. So this is the knowledge which we then share with the countries and where we are pushing towards. Last point, on the commitment point of view, so Africa is a strategic market for us, and we have committed as Andritx to invest more and more in Africa, and this is why you see our organization is growing. We are not starting with the sales and then service, and soon we will talking about having the service stations and so on. Andritx is not a small company, it's a cash-rich company with a 9 billion euro turnover, 30,000 employees, 280 offices in 80 countries. So we're not short of money or to invest or to do even acquisitions. So we are not a company who will then plan to leave the market or disappear. This is not the plan.
Okay. I think there is a point I'd like to take you back. You have a story of a customer who called you. He had bought a plant on Alibaba. So please tell that story and why it is important that people not to think that just because you want to improve on your value stream, that the cheapest plant you find online is going to be the right plant for you. You need to talk to us because we are here and we have committed to Africa.
Many years ago, when I used to do any presentations, I used to have one slide, and maybe I might be able to find this funny picture which I got from online, where a gentleman was sitting and he's holding a paper with a tattoo, picture of a beautiful tattoo, and then you see a woman is making a tattoo or man is making a tattoo. It was nowhere close to the same. So he wanted to make a dragon and he's making like a donkey or something at the back. And the title was at the bottom, I think. Yes, you know, you can do it at a cheaper, but it's not going to look like the same. You can find a solution to do it, but it will never be the same. Its price is not really the element you need to look at. And I come from the product management background as well, where I always said, price is not relevant. Most important thing is if you can justify the value of the product, then value have no reference. So if you invest 100,000 with me and I can triple it, it makes sense. But if you spend $10,000 with me and I cannot even make $10,000 for you, then it's expensive as such. So the topic about this Alibaba was, I was in my office in Dubai and I got a call from one production manager that he's visiting a friend who called him to look at his aqua line. And he was calling me from his factory. And the gentleman who put up this factory was a dentist. And he did not have any knowledge about aqua feeds, but he had some farm somewhere. So he said, can your engineer come over, Shirti, and look at this aqua feed line? We are putting it together. We don't know how to do it. And it's not working properly. And I asked him, okay, which brand, which model? So at least I know. Andritx guy can handle many other brands as well. So I asked him, what is the brand? He said, I don't know. So then I asked the gentleman who was the owner of the plant, I said, where did you buy? What's the name? He said, I bought from Alibaba. And in the video, it was working. And but I brought the plant. It's not working at the moment. He bought it for $100,000, an aqua feed line, $150,000 or something, which is not a small amount, considering that it's not going to work. So you have wasted your $150,000. And he was trying to call a number, which I said, maybe find on the machine somewhere. He said, it goes to Alibaba. It does not go to the OEM who supplied this machine. So that was a very funny story.
So the message here is For those who do not know, Alibaba is a website, online website. You can buy equipment. There is a tendency, and especially in Africa, and especially with entrepreneurs, I'm sure you've dealt with them, to go online and figure out, oh, I can actually buy an oil pressing machine. I can buy a cleaner from China for $1,000. They're usually listed at $1,000, and you don't understand the process, or you do not understand that there is additional equipment required, or you do not understand that there is know-how that is going to be required to get it to run properly. And then you end up spending some valuable income that you had made in another sector that ends up failing. And I think this is one of the biggest problems with entrepreneurship in Africa, because we are told, we come and get a message, feed is the future, agriculture is the future, maize milling is the next big thing in this country and that, but they don't tell you that you need the right people, the right technology, and the right partners to get it running. So I will end with Niels. Niels, first time in Africa, right?
Almost.
Almost the first time. But in terms of the interactions that you've had, and in terms of what we are able to do as Andritx, from animal feed, being dairy, aqua, pet food, swine, what would you say in terms of technology? Are we a one-stop shop, or do we lack competencies in anything, or can anybody come to us and be guaranteed that we have the right solution for them?
Of course, we can guarantee the right solution. I mean, we have the products, we have the local competences, we have the global competences, we have the knowledge to ask the client what is actually the objective, not only what kind of machine do they want, but what is their objective, which business context do the solution plug into?
Short and sweet answer. Thank you. I'll give our guests from the chamber and ask you, what do you see or what do you hear, and how can we make this message be louder and stronger within the local chamber, within the manufacturers who are part of your chamber? What do we need? What do you need from us as a supplier, as the representative of these local manufacturers, this Chamber of Commerce in Lusaka? Where can we plug in? How do we partner? And what message do you want us to take back to say that we had an interesting engagement in Lusaka?
Thank you very much. What I would suggest is that the community that has been here, it hasn't even reached quarter of Zambia. So meaning that we, as Zambia, we have a lot of trade fairs, expo. So Andritx should not stop here, but it has to be a continuous process. Andritx should not be like Coca-Cola, for argument's sake, but be a continuity participant in the activities of Zambia's expo and trade fair. Then the message will reach every corner of this country.
Thank you. Johannes, you are the person who remains in the region. What's your message? What's your commitment to our guests and participants?
Well, when I introduced myself at lunch with a lady, I told her Zambia is my second home because I love the people. We have a lot to learn about Zambia. There's a lot that we can learn from them. Zambia is a very interactive market. It's an open market. When I compare Zambia with other countries, South Africa is a very closed business environment, very isolated, very difficult to get in there. But Zambia and the rest of Africa is very open. It's very inviting. Take the opportunity. If you see the opportunity, we are open. We are available to have a dialogue. As we highlighted about Alibaba, to discuss the pros and the cons. But more importantly, to make sure that you have the right equipment to be successful in the market. The potential is there. The ministry has highlighted their objectives on what they want to reach as a country from a raw material perspective. And I can see there's a drive of the country to be independent from the rest of the world. Instead of being an importer, but to become a net exporter. And there's huge opportunities in there. So reach out to us so that we can have dialogue to ensure that whatever you want to achieve, we can assist to make that possible.
Thank you very much. Let's give these panelists at least a round of applause. They have really tried. It's been an hour of answering questions. Well done, guys. I would like us to take some rounds of questions. At least, I'm sure you've had something that you might want to challenge or you might want to, clarify. So I'd like to give you an opportunity to ask and maybe direct it to somebody on the panel, and we'll see who is going to be the best place to answer the question. But if there's no questions and you are shy to ask it publicly, then in the next 1 hour, we are having our one-to-one sessions, private room somewhere. You can ask in confidence your questions, and you'll get, I think, the right answers either from a global perspective on technology, on the business, and as well your local partner for the business. Any questions? No questions. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Oh, there's a question. Oh, okay, sorry. Good. Lovely man, thank you. You've saved me. Good. Please stand up, introduce yourself. And
not so quick. You wanted to leave very quick on the floor there. My name is Sven Pilblad. I'm from National Milling. I'm general manager for the stock feed production. My question is, since COVID, it's taken a long time from order to delivery for any company to get their equipment and spares. How is Andritx trying to improve that? It has been many years since COVID. It is taking anything from 20 to even 30 weeks to get equipment that costs a lot of money and very necessary for our production. How are you trying to improve that outside of the usual excuses of shipping delays and so on? I'm talking within your own production and supply. Thank you.
A fantastic question. I love all three of you answer that question. So I will start with Johannes. Let's start with Johannes.
Excellent question. Thank you, Sven. We had a session earlier about, we have all of this technology that we presented here today, but you cannot run this technology without proper support. And I've mapped also our regional support, our structures. And in Johannesburg, we have a fully fledged office and warehouse. It is our strategy that we will work on in 2026 and forward. We know the eye base of the customer. We're at the stage whereby we need to be proactive, and as you rightfully mentioned, my question that I asked in the audience, I said, our first warning was COVID with the supply chain disruption. Second warning shot was now the conflict in the Middle East. How many conflicts and warning shots needs to happen before we realize that we need to be self-sustainable? That we need to manage our risks. And that is why we have the data. Our strategy is to be proactive towards the customer. We know the machines. We know the critical spare parts is need. We will go to the customer and say, Mr. Customer, here's the critical spare parts for this machine, as well as the quote. We are also flexible in how we handle this opportunity to say, if you do not have all of this cash flow for these spare parts, we come to a spare parts an agreement to say we keep this space in stock for you for 12 months. If this part hasn't been used, come to the end of the 10 months, we fully invoice you for that. How do we help you? We also help you to ease the burden on your OPEX, because we know times are tough and we need to be there to support our business partners and customers out there. That is from a local perspective. Good. From a global perspective, I will lead over to
give it to Niels. I want you to give it to Niels to talk about the global perspective in terms of our I think the biggest concern we usually have, apart from parts, is the dies and the rollers, which are the wear parts. So talk about how we are fixing that with either our plants or our partners in the supply chain, and any other insights that you have to fix this or to answer this.
I don't think I'm the right person.
Okay.
No, I think the reason he said, I have worked for my last employer, being the head of the service business.
Okay.
And you know the company, my previous employer, had the same challenges, Buda, and now in Andritx. So I started in Andritx as a global vice president for service business. Hence, Neil passed this on to me. I would say there is nobody better than the other. There isn't anybody who will say that they will gonna stock $10 million of parts in the region just to make sure that they are covering for everything for every customer. It's just not possible for any company. So what happens, we prepare this recommended spare parts list for each equipment, followed by an audit, what we call a service level agreement, or you don't even, with us, you don't even have to have a service level agreement, just call us. We come up and we work with the team and we come up with a minimum possible list, not a comprehensive list, but minimum possible list for critical parts with a longer lead time. This is for the parts side of the business, because not every company manufactures every single part by themselves. You pick up, I spent a lot of years in the UK, and some of the colleagues came from Rolls-Royce, working in the company. Some of the guys came from Range Rover. I used to speak to them and ask the same question. They said, Range Rover is not made by Range Rover. The dashboard is made by somebody else. The carpet is made by somebody else, but to the design of the company. And this is how it works. So when you talk about the parts, does not mean you have all the parts in stock. Even as a OEM, you're still relying on a third party supplier. Let's say we talk about this motor. We were discussing, what was the WEG? What was the motor? SU? Not gearbox. Then you have a SU motor, for example. It's not made by Andritx or any other supplier. So you don't keep those things in stock in abundance. You will have some stock, but not as much, mainly in the headquarters. So customers are highly recommended to have those lists, have some parts, critical parts available. Yes, what is predictable and what we are now working towards is the wear parts. We know the die will run out after certain tonnage. A roller shell will run out after certain tonnage. You have the any other wear parts. When you can expect a life, then you can have those in stock, and we do the stock agreement for those ones. What Andritx have done quite clever, and I think I would say this is really differentiated. The number of factories we have for the dies now is 3 now. We used to rely only on Netherlands before, with the lead time, depending on the type of die you will then ask, will depends whether it's a 12 weeks or 20 weeks, for example. Now from China, the factory we have, a typical on average lead time for a die is around 7 weeks. It could be 6 sometime, it could be 8, depending on how busy they are. So we have really cut down the delivery time by 3 by going to China. And the same strategy or philosophy has been applied now by opening up a new die factory in North America, which will be serving the customers there as well. So we are becoming as regional as possible as a company. And I do not think that there is other company who has anything faster than that when you have to design and manufacture die from scratch. We have a control because we start from the piece of steel and then we make the ring ourselves. Then from the ring, we actually then make the die. So we have a much better control from the start of the process till the end. And we also manufacture dies for the companies as well. So I would recommend that please have some kind of, let's say, collaborative way of working. And I would tell you, there wouldn't be anybody better than, I'm not saying there will be another company who can do faster than us. It would be very similar. Even if you go to somebody else, we would probably be more faster than anybody else. But it's just a matter of working together.
Excellent. Does that give you some comfort, or we should also talk about projects in terms of timelines? Okay, good.
Okay.
So Niels, you've escaped that one for now.
I just want to see, one of my boss always used to say, it was a very, very senior guy in the organization. He said, we always try to stock the parts and you always get it wrong. It's very difficult to forecast what is going to go wrong. And then what we have done, Andritx, maybe give me 2 more minutes.
Yes,
we
please.
are working on things which are for predictive maintenance. And one of the initiative what we have is called Mattress Vibe. Mattress is a platform which is designed by Andritx. It's like having your own SCADA system. So it's Andritx's own design. What we do with Mattress platform is Andritx business is spread across paper and pulp, in hydropower and so on. So paper and pulp, when you do a project, is around $500 million or euros. This is the size of project we're talking about when a paper mill is sold or pulp mill is sold. Amount of automation you need is huge, and you cannot afford to have a downtime. You have a downtime of 1 hour, you lose $100,000. This is the kind of discussion we are having with the customer. To 24 hours, imagine how much money you will spend. And this was kind of a drive to come up with the applications or digital products which can detect certain indicators from the heat signal, from the vibration, and so on, that you will know it. Something is going to go wrong in a daytime, in a 1 week time, or in a month's time. You will start getting those signals. It's like somebody having a heart attack, but there is a monitor right to the body which will tell you, look, something is not right, and you need to look into this before it breaks down. So I would always say, instead of talking about what happens in the aftermath, it's better to be in a preventative side and have those couple of those mattress wipe sensors employed on those machines that you don't even have to get to this problem. We are not here to make money from those parts. We want to make sure your operations go as smooth as possible.
So what I hear is we are still a strategic service partner. We still are, in that sense, as we're saying, as it reads there, we are still a very strategic service partner if we jointly collaborate to get it right in terms of stock levels or your critical spare parts. And Faisal, I would summarize what you've just said about Matrix Vibe. We actually had the sensor. I think we need to show you the sensor a bit later during the one-on-one sessions, the Matrix Vibe sensor. But what you're saying is let's utilize our automation and digitalization solutions to actually predict failure. So I expect that you'll get a visit to discuss something to do with Matrix Vibe as well for your pellet mills. And if you have as well hammer mills, what else? Can we get it on an extruder?
Fans.
Fans as well? Yeah. Can we sell it to maize millers and wheat millers?
Yes, everything that runs with the RPM above 100.
So anything rotating with an RPM above 100, we can place this Matrix Vibe sensor, and you'll know on your mobile phone when you are having excessive vibrations. Kalai, does that sound sweet? Okay, fine. So now we are going to go into the milling industry as well with the Vibe sensor.
I think that one of the beauty things with the Matrix Vibe is that it does not react to just a single shock. It's not, when you start up the machine empty, it will vibrate. It will not react to that kind of level of vibration. It will measure the overall vibration and pick up the trend rather than just to reacting to the fact that you actually close the door.
Okay, fantastic. I think we'll go into that. Is there any other question? Oh, no, more hands have gone up. Okay.
I'm Mr. Piri, once again, from Star Milling Limited, SAC. You earlier mentioned on the maintenance. We have had the plant which has been in operation for almost 2 decades. Then we have the worm conveyors, the screw conveyors, which are absolutely closed. It's been difficult for us to do the cleaning, especially in terms of infestations. So do you have the worm conveyors which have openings at the bottom so that during maintenance, we can just be opening those, the inspection doors so that whatever lives in the worms during and after production, you can easily drop.
Okay, so a question about conveyors.
It's a good idea to have that. But we also look at the safety aspects. People are people. And wherever there's excess, people can always, stick in their arms, their limbs. So whenever we make a design on an equipment, we first of all look at how efficient it will be and how safe it will be. So those type of conveyors is not in our portfolio because we're trying to keep the human element, natural element, as far as possible away from the product that you're manufacturing. So when it comes to wear and wear, it tells me then that your screw, your flights, has been too worn out and it no longer serves the purpose of being a self-cleaning conveyor. So I think we need to address that issue, then creating a safety risk at the end of the day.
Good afternoon. My name is Ulimbakisia Angetile. I'm from Dominion Commodities. My question is, I came across a study which suggests that maize can be replaced in animal feed for poultry. That study was conducted in Eastern Africa. So I wanted to find out from your expertise if you've had any clients requesting for feed equipment meeting the requirements of soybeans and replacing maize with maybe sorghum, cassava, pigeon peas, if that's something you've come across.
This is for Niels. The perfect question for Niels, who is our global application manager.
What I see is that the broiler formulations, which we just should stick to now, is in the maize regions. They are based on maize, but in the regions where they also have wheat, there can be a balance between corn and wheat. Sometimes triticale, but that's it. So you can easily replace, yes. And having more and more wheat also gives higher starch content and better pellet ability and better PDI.
I'll also maybe support Niels on that because there's one challenge here. It is possible to be done, I would say, with some of these grains that you mentioned. The thing with these ancient grains, or what we call ancient grains, the sorghums, the millets and everything, is most people then say these are much more valuable, number one, for human consumption. Okay, so the preference is that you do not, one, grow them and then give them for animal feed or for commercial large-scale feed production, but rather to feed people. And then you've got to look at the nutritional or the type of grain they are. If you are talking about the size of millet or sorghum, okay, even look at it from a plant design view. When we use the traditional maize, the process becomes very easy in terms of designing the plant. But when you introduce a lot of these very small grains that are also difficult to clean, okay, that are difficult to also kind of digest or get the nutritional value out of them, it becomes less viable to use them. So most people then say, let's go with the most abundant, commodity, which is maize in this region. And because we get a much higher value when we do wheat milling, because wheat is less grown in this region, then let's leave wheat and those grains to humans or human food, and let's focus on maize. But the answer is short. Sorry, it's possible to do some, but not to a large degree.
I would say that the variability of formulation is very limited for broilers. Broiler formulations globally, it's the same. That's why I put it there in the recipe, in the formulation for the modular plant. It is the same globally. We can discuss the
percentages here,
but it's the same. Pig feed has slightly bigger variability, but ruminant feed, cattle and dairy feed, is extreme, and that's where we start talking about value streams, side streams, value streams, co-products from milling, from brewing, from oil production, that really are put into those formulations to a great extent.
Good.
So the cow is fed more or less anything.
I'd like to end the session there so that we give people the opportunity to have the one-on-one sessions before we then proceed with the rest of our evening agenda. But I'd say let's give the four gentlemen our appreciation and a round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Well done. Good. So we are going to go to what we call a one-on-one session or matchmaking session. So if you have any question that you want to address to the Andritx team, we are going to set 4 corners where we'll have Faisal on one corner, Johannes on another, Niels on another, and myself on another corner. And what we'll do is, depending on who you want to talk to or who you feel you want to go and have an interaction or tell them, I want to discuss this, then you'll go to that corner. We'll do this for an hour, and then we'll definitely I'll say 1 hour is done, and we are then going to move on into the next stage, probably closing the events. We'll do some gifting, obviously. You spend some time with us, and then we'll tell you what comes next. Thank you. So
I think it doesn't have to be 1 hour. So as soon as we are done, I think we can move on to the next stage as well. Okay. So where do you want us to move?
So the corners are basically, we'll have Faisal here, we'll have Johannes with some people there. I will be here. Yes. So depending on who
I really like it. Thanks for the question. I feel really sad and apologetic for the problem. Just more like genetically awkward. Please let me know. I do my business now. I have some kind of, let's say, relations internally as well sometimes, because I have to speed up certain things. So if something is not moving, I can actually always get in there to make things faster. That's what we can do.
Things like business spares and things like that. I mean, we have learned that it takes a while.
Always got it wrong. Service for the whole region. Trying to install things out there. We got it. The topic always come up for the return of capital employed. And then we got the capital. We got a stock, 3 million stock here, 3 million Saudi Arabia. Even in Dubai, we used to have a stock in Dubai times. We borrowed the workshop there, warehouse. We put some stock there. It was never it was just not last week. And then what happened? We have to get rid of the money and these are expensive parts. So what happens? We have really gross margin targets very, very high as opposed to average. So then we ask question that you have now wasted so much money in the parts and so on. Your gross margin target is low. So you need to increase the prices. Now what's happening?